The shortest intro in the history of YouTube intros is right there. Welcome to Comic Art Convo. It's, oh my gosh, it's April 30th, 2022. Man, we are almost through the month and ready to get started on May. Let me bring in my co-host for this wonderful show that we do one Saturday, the last Saturday out of every month. We talk about a strange topic, and this one is strange today. And a little bit about comic art, and then we throw in some con stories to juice things up. So let me bring in my co-host, Sequential Treasures himself. There he is. Welcome.
Happy Death of Hitler Day, everybody.
Is it today?
April 30th, 1945.
Wow, I did not know that. I don't have it on. It didn't come up on my calendar. I was unaware of that. Wow. Oh, let's see here. Leg Kick is here because Leg Kick is almost always here.
Always here.
Kevin Thomas is here. He has a long greeting here. He says, "Hello, Aaron. Hello, Sequential Treasures. Found a copy of Sludge #1 today at the comic shop. Great looking early work." Well, thank you, Kevin, for picking that up.
Louis Brightraven was the first in, and he being first. What do you get for being first?
Absolutely nothing. But thanks for joining us anyway. He doesn't seem to be in the. I don't understand how the first one in always gets their chat removed. There's some sort of. I don't understand how it works, but you know, that's the internet for you.
YouTube algorithm, I'm sure.
Yep. Christopher says he's looking forward to this. Well, yeah, you're going to be amazed at what you're about to see.
I've made sure of that, folks. I've made sure of that.
Before we get into the B movie extravaganza, let me tell everybody up front that we do have links to all of the trailers from James's picks. Many of them all of them are adult oriented, and I would not recommend showing them to your kids. Okay. So,
if they're like 15, 16, they could probably handle.
They get a little, so the one of them gets, there's nudity in the trailer. Let me just say that. Okay.
In one of them. Come on.
Yeah. So, but definitely adult material all the way through and through. But anyway, was the Hitler's birthday thing the special thing you wanted to do, or was there something else beyond that? Okay.
As you guys all know, I've said this before. I've always thought that graded comics were dumb. You're sealing up a comic in plastic. You can't read it. It defeats the purpose. But from Aaron and seeing his collection and something that happened to me, you can see also down in the description section there is a link to an interview I did earlier this month with Pops from Pops on Pop Culture. He interviewed me. Don't know why. I'm not interesting. Who wanted to interview me, but he did. And I saw in the background he had a bookcase with some of these graded comics lined up on the shelves, and it looked really cool. And I'm like, you know what? I should get something like that for myself. So I thought, all right, I'll do it, but I'm going to be very specific in the books that I get. And so I've got my first few in, and I'm going to show everybody so you can all enjoy. I figured I'd start right where it all started for me. The Savage She-Hulk #2.
Tilt that. There you go. 9/4.
9/4.
Now, so that's the first. You're claiming that to be as I recall, the first book.
That's the very first comic I ever read. Yes.
Okay.
And then the next two are ones that they were not shown when we did our thing about our comic covers. That were the first comics you read. These are from the very first time I went to a spinner rack in a magazine shop and bought them after I first got into comics. So first up, we got Avengers 287 from 1980. Well, technically 87 because it's dated January of 88. And 9.6.
Woo! Last
issue written by Roger Stern as well, for those of you keeping tally of such things.
It cracks me up, you guys. So many of you guys are like pulling books from the 80s. I read these when I was a kid, and I'm like, all my books I read are from the 70s. So I guess that says something about my age.
Yeah, it does. But you probably don't want to go too loud with that, Aaron. And then the last one here, 9/4, Web of Spider-Man #35.
Ooh.
Which is an homage to Amazing Spider-Man #8 cover.
Yes.
It has the first appearance of the new Tarantula character, the guy who became the second Tarantula. And this is the very first issue drawn by the awesome awesome Alex Saviuk, his first in like a 7-year run on the book.
Oh, wow. That's the
So,
first issue, huh?
That's the first one he did was that issue. And so these are the ones I've started with. I'm going to get some more. Some of them you've seen, some of them you haven't. But I'm going to try to get all these firsts for me, and we'll see where it goes. And hopefully I can get a bookcase and set it up somewhere, because I'm going to have to move where I'm at now. Now you can see here, maybe in the background, that door behind me over here.
Yep. Other side.
That's the bathroom. We're going to be getting the bathroom worked on in a couple months. And so I'm going to have to move where I'm at. That's why I was thinking of all this at the time. I was like, well, you know what? If I'm going to move, I may as well move somewhere where I can set up something that looks better than my kitchen. So
right. Well,
and so that's what I'm going to do. So I got to have a bookcase, and then I can line these up on it behind me, and it'll look real nice.
That's right. You got to have your comic man cave kind of thing. Now, to defend myself, I do want to say this. I have about 1,500 comics in my collection. It's not a huge collection anymore because it's been withered down to only the really good stuff. But out of those 1,500 books, only like 30 of them are graded. So it's not like I'm, a shill for CGC or anything. When I spend a couple $100 or more on a book, I want to be secure in the grade so that I'm not potentially losing money. So that's why I do it. Not that I'm a big fan of grading, but it's there. And you know what? You take advantage of it because it's part of the collecting landscape now, whether you like it or not. So there you go.
True. But yeah, I finally found a reason that's worthy of getting graded books is to have a nice little display you can set up that looks really nice.
That's exactly right. You can have them back there. It looks very nice.
So that's the thing here.
Kevin Thomas says the first comic I ever read was Spawn 17 around age 5, I think. Didn't understand what was going on, but that Capullo art sure looked cool. Spawn 7, you were 5 when Spawn 17 came out? Holy crap.
That would make you feel old.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yes, it does.
I was 18 when Spawn 19. I was 19 when Spawn 17 came out.
I was well into my 30s, I'm sure. Perhaps knocking on the door of 40.
Marcus Kilgrew is absolutely correct. Alex Saviuk is underrated.
He was great figure work. He did really nice work.
And he does great action sequences.
Yes. Who inked him?
He knows how to compose an action scene.
Who inked him? I can't remember on most of those.
On this issue was Keith Williams.
Yeah.
He did most of his run on Amazing Spider-Man with him too.
Yeah, Keith.
Web of Spider-Man, that is.
I'm not that. That's okay. I was going to make a comment, but I'm not going to. Eric the Guapo. Aaron was turning 45 for the third time when Spawn 17 came out. Eric, if you show up my show tomorrow night.
Eric went to high school with Methuselah.
Yeah, exactly. And Art Adams was my teacher. So, I mean, Art Taber was my teacher. So put everything in perspective there. But Eric, you're in trouble tomorrow if you show up at the Sunday show. I'm just telling you that right now. I don't blow people up only on the Sunday show. So I take a list, though. I take a list throughout the week. Oh, my goodness. Well, let's get this show on the road, man. Let's. Are you ready to start talking schlock?
Let's do it. Look at my username on here right now.
Sequential schlock films. When I opened up the email and I saw your movie poster selection, I just started laughing because they're very much in the same type of genre, and you'll see very shortly what we're talking about.
Well, maybe the same themes, but definitely different genres, but definitely very similar.
Well,
themes, yes.
let's just say the female participation in the films is very similar.
Okay, just so people know, full disclosure, folks, I wanted to show the actual trailers on here, but Aaron said he feared the YouTube gods would strike him. I don't think they would. I've seen people do reviews of stuff and show trailers and never get hit. But it's Aaron's channel. It's Aaron's rules. So
I've done them before, and I get hit every time. So I don't know. The people that are doing reviews have to have some sort of thing going on that I'm unaware of, and I'd like to find out what it is. Because you can run it about, once you get past 20 seconds, your life is in danger of getting struck. So just saying. All right. Anyway, take us through this.
We're going to show the posters to him, and then I also sent Aaron a still frame from the movie so you can see something.
Yes.
So this is Fly Me. This is from 1973. It's an exploitation movie.
Really?
Or some call them sexploitation movies, because there's always going to be some interacting going on.
Yeah, a little action in there.
So yeah, and this is one of my favorites. It's a group of sexy stews who end up fighting a white slavery ring in the Orient, and they battle kung fu killers. I mean, it even says it, right there on there. Sea stewardess battle kung fu killers. I mean, it's right there on the poster. You cannot beat this. This is hilarious. The opening sequence is the best.
Yeah, in the trailer where she's in the cab, she gets in the
cab scene, and that is, in case you don't know, in the opening scene, the cab driver is Dick Miller.
I know. I was like, I can't. But what's he doing in this thing?
Dick Miller as the cab driver who almost crashes the car because
she's changing in the back seat. Yeah.
One of our stewardesses is running late to work, so she's getting changed in the back of the cab, and he's busy trying to watch that while he's driving, and so hilarity ensues. But I love this film because it's just so ridiculous. To me, it's like this antipifies what all B movies are. It's like something totally ridiculous, yet they want you to take it seriously. Like, no, we're really serious. Stewardesses are fighting kung fu killers in a white slavery ring, and it's really serious, folks. But you can't, and you just have to laugh at it. And that, to me, this is like the perfect enjoyment of what B movies are. Is this movie right here? That's why I love Fly Me. It's totally hilarious. It's the lead actress is Ciro Santiago was the main director. Curtis Hanson directed the taxi scene with Dick Miller.
Really?
And here's one for you.
Okay.
The kung fu fighting scenes in the film were done by the great Jonathan Demme. Directed those.
Are you kidding me?
Demme directing in this film. That is hilarious.
My gosh. Well, I guess a lot of guys broke in or what do they call it? Sharpened their teeth on.
They cut their teeth on them. Yeah.
This airline serves 3 wild dishes. Take your choice.
And I'll tell you, all the women in here, all our 3 main heroines, they all have done a lot of work. Mostly, I think the one on the left didn't do too much, but the other 2 did a lot of work, a lot of television work. Our main titular one here is the one on the right is Pam Pat Anderson, and she's done a lot of work. She's done other low budget movies. She's done Summer School Teachers, Angels of Heat, TNT Jackson. I mean, she's done a whole ton of this type of work, so she's like really well known for that. But actually the big star of the film, if you discount Dick Miller, of course,
right,
is Lenore Kasdorf, the one in the middle there, and she's let me see here. Yeah, there we go.
Why would I know her?
Let's see. She was in Starship Troopers.
Oh, really?
She was on Star Trek: The Next Generation television series. She was on Babylon 5. She was on NYPD Blue. She was on the Bold and the Beautiful soap opera show. I mean, she's won a Murder, She Wrote. I mean, she was on Coach with Craig T. Nelson. She has done a host of work.
Well, she says, I'm Andrea. My foreign layovers are very stimulating. So
yes, they are.
That'll get you plenty of work, I think.
But she's not the one that you have to worry about the layovers with, because if you go to the next picture, Aaron, you can see why.
All right, hang on here. Let's bring it up.
Our still frame.
Oh, that's her. Andrea. That's her in action right there.
That's her in action. In action, not the other kind of action. There it is, battling kung fu killers.
Right. Wow. Who would have thought in the 70s that your flight attendant, back then called stewardesses, would also be black belts in karate?
Yes.
I mean, who would have thought? But there it is. The proof is in the pudding, as they say, right there.
I love the guy's expression right here, like, oh no, she's got me. This is just pure cheese. It is everything B movies are all about. And like I said, that's why I love it. I just love Fly Me. The first time I saw it, I just blew me away. Having Dick Miller in the very beginning, just how do you top that? I mean, come on. So everyone, if you haven't checked it out, check out Fly Me. You'll be laughing the entire time. There's one great scene towards the end when, after all the stuff has gone down, Pat's character Toby, her mother shows up in the film, And
Yes.
she must have thanked the guy who saved her from becoming a white slave in the slave trade. And her mother's like, I put a virgin on the plane in Los Angeles. I'm going to put a virgin on the plane in Hong Kong.
Right. That was in the trailer. That's in the trailer.
It's in the trailer, that dress. It's hilarious.
So check out the trailer on this gem. All right.
Oh, God, it's hilarious.
I don't know how you follow this. Oops. What I do here? Hang on a second. There we go. I don't know how you top this, but we're going to try with your next entry here. That is now, this is from the 80s.
Yes, 87.
And I'm surprised that I have never heard of this before. This, of course, is the beautiful Heather Thomas from, was she in TJ Hooker? No, what was she in?
Well, I think she was on TJ Hooker briefly, but her real thing was she was on The Fall Guy.
That's right. The Fall Guy with Lee Majors. That's right.
Yeah. And this is Cyclone. It's, again, as it says right there on the poster, the ultimate team of woman and machine.
So this would have been what, about 85, 86?
87.
87. Okay.
The kicker in this, the villain of the piece, you know who it's played by?
Oh, Martin Landau.
Landau.
It's like, what is he doing in this film?
He must have owed somebody money, or somebody had like some pictures of him in a bathhouse or something, and it's just he's like, I got to do this movie, I guess.
Look at this. Andino Palicio. Aaron needs to a coming to Jesus moment after the stream. I already feel a bit soiled. So,
well, this one isn't so bad because it's not really about the exploitation in the classic sense. This is just more of like exploiting popular culture at the time. Like I remember a TV series called Street Hawk, which is about a guy who wore like a suit and rode around and fought crime on a motorcycle. So I mean, this seems to be like this was a couple years after that show. So I'm sure it's like playing off that and like Knight Rider and all that kind of stuff. That's what they're trying to play on with this film. But I just thought it was hilarious because they had to even back in the 80s, you still had identity politics. The ultimate team of woman and machine. You got to make sure that's a woman that's the driver.
Well, this is clearly someone's, they used to make a lot of movies in the 80s, and maybe it's been throughout time, but I only really was paying attention during the 80s when I was in school, college and stuff. But it seemed like they were constantly making these low budget movies and taking TV stars. Like Jamie Farr showed up in so many weird, bizarre movies. It's like starring Jamie Farr from MASH, like somehow that was going to be a draw to this movie. And it's kind of like they're doing here with Heather Thomas, from The Fall Guy, Heather Thomas in her own movie, Cyclone. But, I'm thinking this probably was not a box office bonanza. But let's take a look at some of the, a shot here with some cool special effects that.
Well, I don't know if we call them cool, but by today's
but they are special effects. There they are. Look at that. Shooting the old lasers right out of that.
And as you can see from the back shot here, rockets in the tailpipe. so you're riding away and someone's chasing you, just fire some rockets at them. I can't get you with my lasers because you're behind me, so I'll use my rockets instead.
Exactly. Now, why is there a cloud of smoke over to the right when she's shooting her lasers to the left? I'm just kind of curious.
Because she had just blasted something over there, and then she's blasting again. That's what this is.
I see. Okay, I thought maybe they messed up a little bit on the timing there, but
no. And this movie also stars the great Jeffrey Combs as well. Another Star Trek connection for you, Aaron, for this film.
Jeffrey Combs.
Jeffrey Combs plays the inventor of the motorcycle.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he was on the movie poster, sort of, there, wasn't he?
And he's also Heather Thomas's boyfriend in the film.
Wow.
So
Rex Smith on Street Hawk.
Exactly. Yep. Yes.
Yep.
Rex Smith was Street Hawk.
Screen in full looks great. Not sure if I watched this movie. Need to check her out. The movie. Yeah, Tarks.
Yeah, that's right.
Heather Thomas. You don't want to miss that. You know it's going to be a gem.
Yeah.
Well, look at this. Heather Thomas had problem with nose candy. That was a problem with a lot of people in the 80s.
A lot of people in the 70s and the 80s had that problem.
Yep.
That's not unique.
Those are huge crayons. The missiles back there. They
like I said, you got Martin Landau as the villain. I mean, come on.
Well, I mean, there's a guy who's actually a real actor, you know?
Yes. Like I said, he's done tons of great stuff, and then he did Cyclone.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, you're right. He must have owed someone a favor or something.
One other person of note in the
Yes.
film
Yes.
is Martine Beswick, who folks might know from Russia with Love.
Oh, really?
Yes.
She must have been the femme fatale in that that Bond film.
Yes, she was the femme. So she was in this movie as well. It's another
bit older.
reference to another actor who's done lots of bigger and better things, and yet here they are doing this.
Michael Deitch wants to know Jeffrey Combs of Reanimator fame. I never saw Reanimator.
Jeffrey Combs of Reanimator fame and of Transformers Prime fame for those of you who watch the cartoon series.
Okay. All right. Now this is
and of course of Star Trek Deep Space Nine and of Star Trek Enterprise.
Wow, guys, he's everywhere. Now this is my favorite, and I got to tell you, if you go watch this trailer, this one is.
I'll give Aaron on this. The other ones you could watch with your kids. I don't think it's going to be a problem. But this is the one that, you definitely want to send your kids out of the room when you go to watch it. The Big Dollhouse. Women in prison. Is there a more timeless trope than this?
Wait a minute. Hang on a second here. What? That's what I was trying to do. There we are.
Yeah. And I'm going to try to read this the same way the guy does the narration in the trailer. Their bodies were caged, but not their desires. They would do anything for a man or to him.
There,
that's another thing I love about these films, like this one especially, is like the emphasis and the verb that they put into reading this dialogue for the trailer. It's like, dude, do you see what you're reading? How can you try to make it sound like it's so epic and it's just not?
Well, there's a one scene in the trailer where they're in a getaway truck or something. The girl points the gun at the guy's crotch and says, "This shot won't kill you, but you're gonna wish it had."
Yes.
And he's like,
that scene was with the great Sid Haig. He was the one.
That's good. I love how you always
this shot won't kill you, Harry, but you sure wish it did.
I love how you always preface these with the great Sid Haig.
That's like, Sid Haig is awesome. He's the man. I love Sid Haig. This movie is awesome. We got so many beautiful women. We got Roberta Collins, Judith Brown, and of course the great Pamela Grier. I mean, you can't deny Pam Grier.
I thought that was Pam Grier in there, but I wasn't quite certain.
This is one of her earliest roles, and I think this is like one of the earliest women in prison flicks. It's from 1971, and it's my favorite. I've seen dozens of these things. I've seen Caged Heat 2, Black Mama, White Mama, The Big Bird Cage, women in cages, The Arena, which is basically Roman times women in prison. I mean, I've seen so many of these films, and this one is my favorite simply for the end. How the movie ends just is like, wow, perfection. Well, you cannot beat this. It's perfection.
The thing I want to know is how did so many hot women end up in some like Saigon prison or something, wherever they're at,
Well, they're in the Philippines is where they're at.
Okay.
And well, they're all in there for, of course, they're in there for either minor offenses or for trumped up charges. That's what our titular hero, Judith Brown, she's the main heroine. She's set up and she takes a fall and she's not really guilty of what they put her in for. And so it's all about them trying to break out. The girls are going to try to break out of the prison. And again, the way it ends is it's hilarious.
Okay. See, now
my favorite scene though is when Judith Brown is being having like an encounter with the doctor who's like doing an examination on her, and he goes, "You don't look like a hardened criminal to me."
I know. I saw that in the trailer. I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
That dialogue, you cannot beat the dialogue. It is so great. But go ahead, show our one little scene here, a little snippet for everyone, so you can check it all out.
Okay, hang on here. Oh yeah. Yeah, this is the kind of action you expect in a movie like this, and there appears to be plenty of this going on.
There you go, guys.
Little
mud wrestling in a rice field. Come on.
Is that Pam Grier we're looking at from behind?
Pam Grier and Roberta Collins right there, ready to go at it.
Ready to rock and roll in the cornfields, man.
No, the rice field.
Oh, the rice fields of
Philippines.
I don't think
they get totally covered in mud while they're fighting. It's hilarious. It's how could you not love a good mud wrestling scene?
Well, I remember Stripes had a good mud wrestling scene that was pretty funny, but this looked like
this was a lot more intense than the one in Stripes.
This was very intense. Yes.
This was directed by Jack Hill, who is again another master of like these types of films. He's done tons of low budget work.
Here we go. The great master. I mean, look at these words you're using too.
They are because there is an art to these types of films. Believe it or not, I know it doesn't seem like it. That's why it's so good, but there is. And Jack Hill has done a ton of these things. He did this one. Pam Grier, in her later blaxploitation work with Coffee and Foxy Brown, he directed those. Mm-hmm. He's done a lot of work with Pam Grier over the years. He's done a lot of these types of films. Jack Hill is awesome. I will always watch a Jack Hill exploitation film. I will never pass that chance up.
Yeah, when we were like I don't know, 13 or 14, we'd always try and sneak into R-rated movies like this. And it seems we went
Citizen let me see here.
Citizen Ronan?
Yeah, Citizen Ronan. He asked the question there.
There's always a guard with a whip.
Well, it's not a riding crop, but there is a scene where a gal is strung up and she's whipped from behind. So yes, that does happen in the film.
That's also in the trailer, by the way.
Yes.
There's very little left to the imagination in the trailer. You don't really need to see the film after you watch the trailer.
You can't say they didn't show you what they were going to deliver. You can't say, hey, they made it look like they were going to do this and they did that. No, it's exactly what it seems like.
Yeah. They're not going to do that, are they? Well, I guess they are.
No, they are going to do that, and that's why it's awesome. But yeah. And like I said, this is the movie that made me a Pam Grier fan for life.
Oh, how many movies did Pam do with Sid Haig? I remember Tarantino gave him a cameo in Jackie Brown because there was this connection between the two.
They were in this one together. They were in, I think, The Big Birdcage, and they were in Black Mama, White Mama together. I know that for sure.
Well, that's 3 right there.
Yeah, plus this one, that's 4. So,
well. It's funny. I became cynical when I moved down to Los Angeles, and real life hit me in the face for the first time. And once I got out of like little Suburbiaville where I'm from. There you have it. Yeah. Aaron liked naughty films. Yeah. Back when I was a teenager, I have to admit, we went to, it was like, what was it? It was like, we would always try and sneak into these ones thinking there would be nudity in them. And then there wasn't. And we would be like, what the heck? We just wasted 2 hours. Like there was some roller car wash thing we snuck into. I can't even remember what it was called, but it was a little disappointing to my...
You picked the wrong low budget movies to sneak into.
Yeah, exactly.
You didn't sneak into the big dollhouse because then you would have got exactly what you wanted. No,
I'll tell you though, Driller Killer was quite a feast for the eyes on many levels. Have you seen Driller Killer?
I haven't seen it, but I know of it. That's one of the few I haven't seen. But you know what? I feel I've already seen it anyway because I've seen all the Slumber Party Massacre movies. So
yeah, there you go. It's the same thing. Well, it was bizarre. It was in a weird way. It was artsy, but it had all the violence of a slasher film, and then like all the like sex and nudity of a exploitation film. Yeah. So you got everything in there.
Paul's got it. He understands.
Best things about these Grindhouse movies was they were shot on film and everything was done for real on camera. That's true.
Yes.
There you go. Bad trailer equals the whole movie.
They're not bad trailers. They're awesome trailers. They make you want to see the movie. You're like, oh, dude, I got to see this.
Yeah. Well, you've still got some... you got some good ones coming up. So let's take a look at another one here.
We're going back to the 80s again, guys. This one right at the very end, 1989 is where this one's from.
Now, I want to know how they got away with using the Terminator without getting busted.
Well, I guess it was low budget enough and small time enough, and they changed it up probably just enough by not making it a sci-fi powered, but more like mystical magical from the Southeast Asian market, because that's where this comes from, guys. This is again a Southeast Asian international film, originally called The Nasty Hunter, but it got changed to Lady Terminator when they brought it to the U.S. And then you can see right there, she mates, then she terminates, and it's like this movie. And I'll tell you, she does do that in the film. That does happen. So it's not a case like, oh, that doesn't happen. It does happen.
She's a Black Widow, is what you're telling me.
Yes, because the basic premise of the story is this: some guy has an encounter with the South Sea Queen, who's like a mystical figure, and he does her wrong and takes her power away, and she swears, I'm going to kill your great-granddaughter in 100 years. I'm going to get revenge on you by killing her. So
she's not a robot. She's this mystical character.
She's like a mystical, like, witch type character. Yeah. And so what happens is an archaeologist student, this woman right here, her name's Barbara Ann Constable. This is the only film she's ever done, by the way. The only film she's ever done. And she goes down to investigate the underwater. She goes underwater to investigate the lair of the South Sea Queen, and ends up getting possessed by her and becoming the vassal for which she will get revenge.
I see.
And so, all the stuff.
It's plot line.
There's a little bit of Species in there, but not like you're thinking. It's not like the way Species was. This is definitely much more a Terminator ripoff, because there's so many scenes that they stole. There's a scene where there's a shootout in a nightclub. There's a scene where she jumps on the hood of a car while it's driving. There's a scene where she cuts her eye out because it's been damaged. There's a scene where she rams a car through like an authorities, like they're not the cops, they're wearing fatigues. Maybe it's like some kind of like military force, but she rams a car through the wall and it goes and starts killing everybody. So many ripoffs from the original Terminator film in this movie. It's like you can sit there and just, if you took shots while you say, oh, just another scene, let's take a shot, you'd die of alcohol poisoning. That's how many there are. Well, let's see. But one scene you don't see in the trailer, which is linked below. There's this great scene where when she's doing the shootout in the police station, basically, and this one guy comes down from like this staircase, and he's like goes to shoot at her, and she shoots him, and the guy falls and he's the ground. And she walks up and she like empties a clip of a gun right into the and he keeps on walking, and I just started crying. I'm like, why did you kick him? You already put a clip into the guy. He's dead. Before to make sure.
She was pissed,
I mean, you put 200 rounds in a person, they're going to die. I'm sorry.
Look at that.
After she's possessed, this is the only expression she has the rest of the movie. This tells you everything right here. And look at this, a black leather jacket, just like the Terminator. I mean, I'm telling you, so many ripoffs. But, it's just a fun movie. Wait, what is a lady? Are you a biologist? You can't say that.
I'm not, don't call me lady. I'm an anthropologist.
Not a biologist. Come on.
Oh, what was this now? Citizen Ron. Yeah. He worked at Fort Knox as a barber. He cut a few other guys' hair too. He said that he filmed a fight scene at the barbershop, but it got cut for runtime. I don't know what film they're talking about there, but how many great scenes are lying on an editing room floor? Oh.
Probably not as many as we think.
If not from these movies. He stole my biologist gag. Oh,
sorry, Jeff. Goodness. Sorry.
Oh my goodness.
Terminator, total gonzo crazy action, and there's a character in there by the name of Snake. I'm not going to say anything else about him. You just have to experience Snake. You have to experience this character. He's hilarious.
Oh, they're talking about Stripes. See, they got a side conversation. When we're talking about Lady Terminator, they're talking about Stripes.
Oh, yeah, now, Blackish Universe. That literally looks like my wife in high school. Well, I hope she's a lousy shot, or you probably wouldn't be here, so you should be thankful for that.
Yeah, exactly. Jeez. I hope that when you say that looks exactly like your wife in high school, sans the gun, right, Mike? So, all right. This is the one, though. This is the one.
This is the one I was most happy with. Come on, the immortal trash classic by the legendary, the genius himself, Russ Meyer. Faster Pussycat. kill, kill.
This, I watched the trailer for this and I was like, because I haven't seen any of these movies. And I watched the trailer for this and I'm still not sure what it's about. I mean, other than big boobs.
Let's see. It's a don't race the fastest pussycats. They'll beat you to death.
Well, I got them racing cars or something, but are they bad guys? What's their shtick?
They're go-go dancers with fast cars who go out on a spree of crime for kicks.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And they end up going to this farm where this guy has a stash of money, and they're trying to figure out a way to take his money and get away with it. And it's nope, he's wrong. Beyond the Valley Dolls is not the best. This is the best right here. You will never top Faster Pussycat Kill Kill. Nobody can top this film. No, I'm sorry. There's nothing he did better than this.
Yeah, like I said, we talked about this a little bit before we came on, but I mean, I remember Vixens and Super Vixens and Beat the Valley of the Ultra Vixens. And I remember this one, although I never saw it. But he had a bunch of just like weird, he would do movies with girls with big boobs and just violence. Those were like the two things he combined in like all of his films.
Well, again, like I said, the man is an underappreciated genius. And to back that up, let's see here. You find the personal. He has some personal quotes that I think pretty much sum it up. He has exactly what is lacking in the comic book industry today. He goes, "I don't pretend. What the public wants are big laughs and big boobs. I'm changing for your show, Aaron.
Yes,
and lots of them. Lucky for me, that's what I like too." And there it is. He knows what he does, and he knows what the public wants, and he gives it to them. That's
genius.
Russ Meyer. That is why he's a genius.
The genius of Russ Meyer. Now, Mike wants to know, what about Lorna? You were talking about Lorna earlier.
I like Lorna a lot. That's probably my second favorite after this one.
Dr. Alien with Judy Landers I know who Judy Landers is, has to be one of Aaron's list of B movies after the poster talk the other day. Oh yeah, we were on another, which show were we on anyway? It was Dale Keown and I were talking about like posters we had hanging up on our wall in our bedroom when we were like, teenagers. And I had Judy Landers' swimsuit poster among others, but actually her sister, Audrey, was actually better looking in retrospect now. But
well,
she didn't.
If anybody wonders, here is Russ's basic, whole credo for what movies should be. And he says, I don't pretend to be some kind of sensitive artist. Give me a movie where a car crashes into a building and the driver gets stabbed by a bosomy blonde who gets carried away by a dwarf musician. Film should run like an express train. And right here, this image, this is all you need right here. If this ain't enough to get you to watch the film, I don't know what is.
Oh my God.
Satana, come on.
And the funny thing is, this was 1965, so this would have been really racy for that period of time.
Yes, if you watch it now, guys, with the stuff we've seen in the corresponding 50-some years, this will seem tame in comparison. You'll be like, why is everybody all upset about this? This ain't that bad. But back then, this was considered pretty bad.
Shelley jokes creeping their way in. So was there? This is a serious question. Was there any nudity in this film for 1965?
I think there might be a brief glimpse once, but most of it is like, there's a scene where like they're getting showered off this water tower, and you got their back to the camera. They're not showing the front.
Okay, because I thought 1965. How far would he have gone? I know how far he went in the 70s, but
yeah, he went. He definitely went full bore in the 70s, but here it's a little more restrained. I think here is actually trying to focus on the story. I think. the best scene of the movie, though, is the scene at the dinner table. I call it innuendo dinner theater because everything said means completely something else than what's being said.
That was in the trailer as well. Some of that was anyway.
There's a moment of that in the trailer where Lori Williams, our blonde here, you see her from the back.
Yes.
She reaches over with a plate of chicken and goes, breast or thigh? And then the father of the sons who owns the farm goes, why don't you have one of each son? They both look tender. He's got a big motor to feed.
Exactly. Michael Deitch. $4.99. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it very much. He says, I appeared in one horror film. My scene with a zombie stripper got cut, except in bootlegs. Ever since, I've hoped my mom hasn't figured out Google search. That's the best chat I have had probably ever. That is hilarious. Love that. Oh, your zombie stripper scene got cut.
My picks for like my all-time, like some of my favorite B movie classics. Again, these are all awesome. The trailers are awesome. If the trailers don't make you want to watch a film, nothing will.
Well, you know what they say? It's if you screw up a trailer, you must have a really bad film. So,
well, again, and the thing is unlike the trailers of today, where like they basically just give you all the story in the trailer. These ones, you don't always get all the story. Like, okay, the Big Dollhouse kind of gave it away a lot, but other than that, the other ones you don't get the whole story. You got to watch it. Oh, I got to see this. What's this all about?
mm-hmm.
They don't do that today. It's all like, yeah, let's just try to tell them what the whole story is in 2 minutes, and then, oh, okay, well now I don't have to go see the movie, I guess.
Well, that's the thing with Faster Pussycat Kill. I was like, okay, we got go-go dancers driving, fast cars, and they're fighting with dudes. And that fight scene with the one busty gal with the black top and the black hair,
yeah,
they're just like ripping each other in the face. Yeah. It's just like bam, man. It was like that's so Russ Meyer.
With the nom de guerre of Russ Meyer's ode to the violence in women.
Yes, exactly. I mean, that is in all of his films. Well, I haven't seen all of his films, but some of the films I've seen, there's always like this.
In the trailer, they even say it's man versus Superwoman with the prize, life itself.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But yes, I mean, it's again, all these movies are great because they are unintentionally hilarious.
Go ahead.
How can I top that?
Yeah, you can't. I mean, that's goes over, folks. Oh, now when I go to my picks, this is going to be a serious letdown because there are nothing trashy like you put up there. So, because I was thinking these are movies I had to like, and then you said no. So I've got one in there. I can't.
It would have been fine. It would have been fine if you hated them. It's just B movies.
Well, I got a couple I hate in here, so we'll get to those. But let's open up with this one, which I find kind of interesting. This is the Gentle Bee movie with this is Ron Howard's directorial debut, Grand Theft Auto. Now, I believe he made Eat My Dust.
Video games 20 years later.
Yeah. He made Eat My Dust with Roger Corman, and then when Corman asked him to do this, he was like, well, I want to direct it. And of course, Corman responded in his classic manner, I don't care. So Ron Howard broke in here and with his directorial debut, and I got to tell you, him as Opie Howard or not Opie Howard.
Cunningham.
Opie Cunningham or whatever, as a bad dude stealing cars is like, oh my gosh, this is good stuff though. I mean, tons of carnage and car wrecks and ridiculous 70s humor.
That sounds like he was trying to go against his typecasting.
Exactly, but it didn't work.
Like how Tom Cruise did in the movie Collateral. He was going very much against type in that movie, Tom Cruise. And so this is Ron Howard saying, no, I can be a bad boy.
I can be the
bad guy too.
Mm-hmm.
I have to always be the nice guy.
And who was funny, who made an appearance in this is his mom from Miriam from Happy Days.
Marion Ross.
Marion Ross is in this. So it's like I was waiting for Henry Winkler to show up,
This is
of course
this is one I have not seen. I'll have to check this out.
Yeah, I mean, come on, you got it. When you got a guy who's actually been become a fairly accomplished director, Academy Award winner, to go back and look at their first work, it's kind of like looking at Scorsese, Boxcar Mama and those kind of movies and things like that.
It's like going back and looking at Aaron Lopresti's Star Trash. That's
right. Or my student film, which is locked up in my my cabinet downstairs, probably never to see the light of day. But anyway.
Oh, the trailers that could be made from it, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, this is funny. Paul says there's probably more action in that poster than in the actual movie.
Well, you can't say that about my films, though. My choices. There was
No.
definitely plenty of action in mine.
Well, I just picked this one because it was Ron Howard's directorial debut. So if people didn't know that, they should check it out just for nothing else than just, cinematic curiosity. All right. Now this one I loved. Okay. Now I don't know if this would predate you because I think this was 80. This is about 1980. There was a lot of buzz about Schwarzenegger and John Milius's Conan the Barbarian, right?
That would be 82.
80, was that 80? Yeah, it was 80. You're right. 82, my senior year in high school. So so there was a rush to get out Barbarian movies before Conan to kind of like take advantage of the beat the crowd, right? To get that Barbarian dollar before Conan came in. And this one came out and it stars Lee Horsley, who you may remember from a television show called, Matt Houston. He was like some Texas detective or something. And he is the lead role as the Barbarian in this movie. And I got to tell you, as cheesy as this movie is, it's actually, when we went and saw this and then we saw Conan like 6 months later when it came out, we preferred this movie because there was way more action in it than in Conan.
Well, the thing about this and the one you did before, the thing about these posters is they're actual art too. They're not photographs or anything or some kind of thing like that. These are actual artwork that was done when they actually made artwork for posters rather than using pictures. Right.
And the sad thing is it's a really crappy piece of art and they could have gotten somebody like, Boris or somebody. Maybe they didn't have the budget for it. But Michael Deach says for $4.99. Thank you, Michael. Again, Corman said he only made one film that got positive reviews. It was also his only film that lost money. Isn't that the truth, brother? Don't let the critics determine what the box office is.
Well, like I said, all you gotta do now, that's what you use Rotten Tomatoes for. If the critics love it and the fans don't watch it. If the critics hate it and the fans love it, make sure to watch it.
Look at that. See, Jeff Potts remembers. What does that mean? ROTLFM?
Rolling on the floor, laughing my.
Oh, there we go. Lee Horsley and Kathleen Beller, right? But Lee Horsley was the guy. I remember that's Matt Houston. They got Matt Houston to be the Barbarian. Are you kidding me?
I never seen this, but I've seen one. Maybe you've heard it. It's called Bull from Night Court is the bad guy. Yeah, Richard Mall.
Yeah, is in this. How about that?
Who also is the voice of Two-Face on Batman the Animated Series. In case folks don't realize,
I didn't know that.
He was the voice of Harvey Dent Two-Face. Yes. And he was also in the very first episode of the Highlander series with Paul Adrian.
Really?
Yes.
Look at this.
I'm a connoisseur of Richard Mall's work. He did an episode of Buck Rogers in the first season too.
Oh.
When he still had hair.
Wow. And Dino Policio says, that's my motto with comics. If Aaron likes it, don't buy it. That might be wise. I don't know.
Well, I've always said this about me. Like whenever I really love something, I know it's never going to last because I really love it. Oh, I love this book. Oh, it's canceled after 12 issues. Oh, yep. Okay. There you go. I really enjoy it.
I was notorious as a kid of attaching myself to lame books that got canceled. But Paul, looks like a Frazetta painting. Really cool. It does until you look at it really closely and you see how crappy it is. It's just a terrible painting. It's a terrible drawing and a terrible painting that's kind of emulating a Frazetta-like look. And I'm guessing they could not afford to get like Boris or Frazetta, obviously, to do their poster. But come on, man. But I do have fond memories of this movie. I love this movie. Now, if I watched it today, I might feel differently. But when it came out, I loved it.
Oh, is that true? Is what Louis Bright Raven's saying? Is that true? Matt Houston debuted 3 days after the movie?
Oh, really? He would know. But that's weird because it seems I thought I recognized him as Matt Houston when I went and saw the movie, but of course it was, 40 years ago. So, my memory may be a little fuzzy on the details, but I will take.
Here come the comments. Aaron making a joke about his memory. Look out, it's coming.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't need any help, do they? With okay, now this I don't know if this really classifies as a B movie, but I had never heard of this film. rented it on video on a Friday night when I had nothing to do, and it was exceptional. So let's take a look at this. And I'm classifying it as a B movie because I never saw it get theatrical release. I don't know if it did or not, but this is one heck of a movie. Anthony Edwards, as you know from
Top Gun and ER.
Thank you. That's exactly what I was trying to say, but my fuzzy memory prevented me from doing it. Here's the quick rundown on this film. He meets this girl. He's kind of a loser, and he meets this girl, and they hit it off. And it's like, oh my gosh, finally I met a girl. This is it. This is the one kind of thing, right? Well, she goes to work, and they're planning on meeting up the next day. And they're going to meet someplace, but I don't think he has her phone number or something weird like that. But anyway, so he's hanging out in this coffee shop in the Miracle Mile district in LA late at night. And the phone rings, like the payphone outside the diner, right? And he's out there for whatever reason, because he's trying to call the girl, I think, and trying to find her phone number or something. He got her phone number and lost it. I think that's what it was. So he's just kicking himself, right? Because he finally met a girl and now he lost her phone number. So the phone rings and he picks it up. And some guy starts really agitated on the other line of phone, thinks he's called his mom, but he actually called this number, and he's just going on and on about it's going to be the end of the world. We're going to launch nukes. I don't know. And then he gets shot while he's talking on the phone to Anthony Edwards. And Anthony Edwards goes in there and goes, he talks to some people that were in the bar, and that chick from Star Trek, Crosby. She was only in the first.
Crosby.
Yeah, Denise Crosby's in there, and she's like, "What did he say?" And he says, he drops some like code this guy gave him or something, and she goes, "Those are military nuclear codes." And they're like, "How do you know?" And she goes, "Oh, I dated this senator that was on the arms committee for years," or something like that. But anyway, so they come to the conclusion that there's a pending nuclear war about to break out, right? And so he's got to find this girl before and save her, right? Because they're like saying, okay, this, Denise Crosby's like, I know I can get us on a plane and get us out of here to Alaska or, someplace where it won't be affected and we can survive this. We all got to meet at the airport at this time and blah, blah, blah. So he spends the whole movie just, doing stuff that you would never do because he thinks it's the end of the world, right? So he's breaking the law, stealing cars, whatever, to find this girl because he has no idea where she lives. And so that's kind of the whole premise. And then you're kind of asking yourself through the whole movie, is this legit? Is it really going to be the end of the world? Or did he just, is this whole thing a joke and he just ruined his whole life, because he took it for seriously? So I won't tell you how it ends, but I highly recommend it. It's really good.
Sounds like a cross between War Games and Losing It.
Yeah. Except there's no comedy in this. It's straight. It's actually really good. Bull Durham, $4.99. Thank you very much, sir. Best movie is Billy Jack. Billy Jack were classics. 2 is The Trial of Billy Jack. 3 is Born Losers. He's exactly right. I remember those Billy Jack movies.
I remember Billy Jack movies, yeah.
Karate on the Indian Reservation. Man, you can't get any better than that.
Yeah, wouldn't they call that cultural appropriation today, though?
Yeah, that's right. Well, I think, he was actually the actor. I don't think was an Indian, but that he played one, right? So
see, well, there's one version of it, and then of course you got Indians that are doing martial arts, and of course only Asians do martial arts. So of course that's cultural appropriation.
That's true, exactly.
Everyone's culturally appropriating in those movies. No wonder they were fun.
Does that music say music by Tangerine Dream? Does it? Yes, it does. I seriously, if you have not seen this movie, rent it. It's really, really good. Or download it or whatever you do these days. All right. Now I'm going to show you one that I hated.
And I bet you it's a 50-50 shot that I've probably seen it and I loved it.
Oh, I know you've seen this. There's no way you have not seen this. The Honeymoon Killers. This is the worst suspense film I've ever seen. And maybe it's because it's kind of a black comedy. And when we went and saw it, we were fairly young. I think we were in high school. And we used to when I was in art class in high school, we'd have the radio on to the classic rock station, which back then was just the rock station. Yeah. And they would always, when the weekend was coming up, they would always say, they would show movies like Night of the Living Dead, banned in 36 countries, midnight showing only, and we'd be going, oh, we got to go see that, right? Well, this one came on, and this was the ad. They said, they were way ahead of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's the Honeymoon Killers. And so we're thinking, oh, it's going to be another Texas Chainsaw Massacre, right? Well, okay, here's the premise of this film. For some reason, Tony LaBianco is in love with this hefty mama here, right? Who's far from attractive. Okay, let me just put it that way. She's not like a heavy girl with a beautiful face. She's a heavy girl with an ugly face. So it's like
butterface.
Yeah, and so they devise this plan that he's gonna be a gigolo and marry these rich women, and then they're gonna murder them on their honeymoon, right, and take their cash. And apparently this is based on a true story, but she's jealous, of course, of him, and she has to come. She plays his sister, or pretends he's his sister, and so he brings her along with them on his honeymoon every time he gets married. Oh my gosh. And he's in there, of course, getting it on with whoever he married. And actually, she's all mad.
There is a true story of this. This happened. I forget the name, but I remember I saw it on an episode of Deadly Women, where they basically were talking about the woman who was with this gigolo, and he would go and hook up with women, and then they would end up killing them to take all the money and all the stuff. Yeah. So it is actually based on a real life story.
Well, I wish it wasn't based on a real life movie, because wow, not good. I got to grab a super chat here real quick as we linger on this beautiful movie poster. Mr. Lopresti, it's low, but I'll accept that because you're giving me $5, Marby Dog. I appreciate it. When Marvel finally adapts Planet Hulk as a movie, will you buy an island? Here's the sad truth. Because I did very little design work in Planet Hulk, Carlo Paglione did the first story arc, which had most of the design work he did. And then I was riffing off of that in subsequent issues that I worked on. So when they came out with the animated version of Planet Hulk, right, before the Thor movie, Ragnarok, I got no credit at all, not mentioned at all, right? It says based on the comics by Greg Pak and Carlo Paglione. And I'm like, and nothing. They interviewed me for the special DVD that came with it. So they interviewed me in it. I'm on the DVD and I get no credit for anything in the movie. So then when the Thor Ragnarok came out, they gave me no credit again. And I had to call and complain again. And they sent me some money, but my name is still not on the credits. So what I'm saying is if they ever made a Thor Ragnarok or a Planet Hulk movie, yeah, Aaron ain't probably getting a dime. So,
or if you do, it'll just be a few bucks here. Here's a few bucks. Shut up.
Yeah. Once I complain, they send me a few bucks. But 80s Made Consumer gives me $5 for just the kindness of his heart. And I thank you very much for that. And I realize, because I've done this before myself, you probably meant to say something, but you sent the money before you actually
said it right after that. It says, "Hail everyone, love old B movies and the poster art." Yes.
There you go. Again, there's your $5 message.
The posters and the trailers are oftentimes better than the movies themselves are. Yes.
Well, the only way she could get sexier is if she started sporting a mustache. But anyway, I don't highly recommend that film. All right, now here's one. I don't classify this as a monster film because it's not scary, and I pretty much don't think it's supposed to be. But you can strike me down here, Sequential. If have you seen this?
No.
This could be the worst film ever made, and it is hilarious because it is so bad. And this shark has Christmas lights for teeth, and he has like a narwhal spike on his head that's like a candy cane, and blood and destruction
This is when homaging goes wrong right here. That's
we laughed so hard at the end scene when everybody gets killed. It is so funny because it is so horrifically bad that so this one I recommend for laughs, but not for quality entertainment.
Well, that sounds like the same thing as with Lady Terminator. Don't go into it expecting a great movie. Just go in there and just laugh at all the ripoffs that they do in the film.
This is like worse than an 8th grader making a student film. I mean, this is the fact that they even had a budget for this. You can't tell where it came from. So it is just, or where it went.
That's always a sign of quality when nobody wants to cop to being responsible for it. I had nothing to do with this. Don't look at me.
Oh my gosh, it's so bad, but it is so funny. Look at this. Is this your student film, Aaron? My student film.
See, you're the one trying not to take your credit. There it is.
No, hang on a second.
From.
My student film, the script for my student film won a national award. Thank you very much. The film itself did not win any awards, but it's not bad, especially compared to Santa Jaws. So, wait a minute. The Postman is the worst movie ever made. Is that are you talking about the Kevin Costner?
Yeah, I think he is. And it is a bad movie. That movie sucks.
That's like he's in the future delivering mail, right, or something.
No, it's even worse than that. That would be improvement if that was the plot.
Okay, now I want to share one more that I'm sure you would classify as a horror film, but if you can watch this,
I won't classify the last one as horror. That's too mockable to be horror.
Okay, but this isn't scary either. But it's one of my favorite schlock B movies, so I had to throw it on here anyway. You've had to have seen this with Joan Crawford?
No, haven't seen Crawford.
They find this guy who's like he's like a caveman. They defreeze him or something, and oh my gosh, it's so. And Joan Crawford is like trying to give a performance in this movie, and it is. I mean, it's like it's not scary. He's just like this misunderstood caveman that somehow she connects with, and oh my gosh. You can't get any better than this. And you have to.
Sounds like a more serious version of Encino Man.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. And you feel so bad for these like legendary stars in the 60s were all like reduced to doing B movies like this. Can you imagine when her agent gave her the script for this? And she's like, it's a living, it's a job.
Well, it's like Martin Landau in Cyclone or Dick Miller in Fly Me. It's like, what are you doing in these movies? You're actual actors.
I know. It's like, well, hey, it was only an afternoon worth of shooting, and they gave me, $500.
Beswick, you were a Bond girl. What are you doing this?
I know. Well, it's kind of like as a comic book artist. If you go through a period of time,
this is the version of comic artists that do the porn comics.
I'm just saying, you go through a period.
I just gotta pay the rent this month. Don't give me a break.
Exactly. You go through a period of time where you're not getting any work, and someone says, "Hey, you want to draw this?" You're like, "No, but I guess I will anyway." Oh my gosh.
That's what all the adult comics I've ever seen is like, oh, that was there. I needed to pay the rent that month, or I had my alimony due that month, so I had to get some money.
Yeah. Bad Ronald is a better B movie. There you go. Well, I haven't seen it, but we'll take your word for it. Check out the Creature from the Haunted Sea poster, then look at the monster from the movie. I'm guessing they don't match up, which oftentimes. Have you seen? We have a local theater here, right around where I live, and they will show. They have like a Weird Wednesdays or something where they always show stuff like this, and they have all these old B movie posters up in the lobby. And one of them was something. What was it called? Biker Sasquatch or something like that. It was like it's got this Sasquatch guy, and it says he mates before he kills. You're just like going, "Oh my gosh, I've got to see this movie." but they have yet to play it up
That's
there.
the great thing about B movies is they don't have the budget, they don't have the acting, they don't have the script, they don't have the special effects. But what do they have? They have the ability to know how to promote something to make you interested. That's what they do.
Well, I mean, come on. He mates before he kills, and he's got all these biker chicks he's throwing around and stuff, and it's just, oh my gosh.
Well, I can see from our background image here, we have the character from Exterminator 2 on there. The one with the flamethrower.
I have to admit, I just found this, and I thought this is the perfect background, and I didn't. Now, that's John Saxon back there with some funky, creepy makeup on, but I don't know what movie it's from.
I think it's Cannibal Apocalypse, I think.
Maybe. But yeah, Saxon was in he showed
he's another one who did a lot of low rent stuff that you don't know about, but he was a great actor. He did a lot of great stuff, but he did a lot of low rent stuff too.
Well, he did most of his stuff on TV, but the movies he were in were usually B movies, and he was in a Game of Death, not Game of Death, Enter the Dragon with Bruce Lee.
Well, but the one he's most famous for is, of course, A Nightmare on Elm Street, which at the time it came out, he was the star of the movie. There was no one bigger in that film than John Saxon at the time it came out back in 1984. You know, Heather Langenkamp wasn't a name yet. Johnny Depp wasn't a name yet. You know, Robert Englund had done a few things, but he wasn't huge yet. None of these people were big names yet. The big name in the original Nightmare on Elm Street is John Saxon. He is the big star of the film.
That's true. Now, this is interesting. Have you seen Kill Dozer?
I've seen pieces of it. I've never seen the whole thing.
This was a made-for-TV movie in the 70s, and Marvel actually did an adaptation of it.
Yes,
they did. In supernatural thrillers or one of those. Yeah. I don't remember which one of those horror title anthologies.
The Red Kill Dozer. Oh god.
Oh my gosh, this is like this meteor lands on this island. These guys are like doing some construction on this island. This meteor lands, and the radioactivity from the meteorite causes the bulldozer to come alive. What more do you need to know? You know? Oh my goodness. The only thing better than B movies is reading Siskel and Ebert's sour reviews on them. Oh my goodness. So do you have an honorable mention you want to throw in there before we move on to the original art? Since I took a couple extra beats here and included a few.
I guess if I would throw in one more little extra there, honorable mention, I'd give it to the first Exterminator film.
The first one.
The first one. The one we see the picture on here with the flamethrower, that's from the second one. It wasn't nearly as good. The first one was actually a pretty decent film. Like, you know, it's got that whole 70s dirty city crime that's going on. It's just the beginning scene in at the start where you see the Vietnam War stuff that's traumatized the character. It's, you know, and there's a scene where a character gets beheaded. I swear to God, it looks real. Wow. There is no way that is fake. They cut someone's head off. That could not be faked.
Maybe they got some snuff film footage and I
don't know what they did, but it was and it's like I said, it's again low budget, but the first Exterminator, it's classic grindhouse, it's classic action. It's about a guy who returns from Vietnam and finds out that the jungles of New York City are deadlier than the ones in Vietnam. Because what happens is his best friend gets killed by a bunch of gang members, and so then he goes out and he kills them, and then he becomes basically a vigilante.
So it's basically what was the movie with Charles Bronson that was basically
Death Wish.
Death Wish.
But Death Wish was more, you know, about Bronson's character. This is more about the environment that the guy is in. It doesn't focus on him that much. That's the whole point. It's about the environment that creates him versus the character himself. Death Wish is much more focused on Bronson's character.
Right. Okay. So Andino says Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. You've seen that probably, right?
Yeah, I've seen that. It's okay.
I think you're being generous.
Well, I mean, as far as B movies go, it's okay. It's not the best B movie. It's far from it.
When we were in high school, we had this club that I started, right? It all started out as a joke, and then it became this big thing. And so we had this membership drive, right? And you had to sit through Attack of the Killer Tomatoes to get to be a member. And we started showing it one night at one of the guys' houses, and then we had like 30 kids there, you know, and it was basically a party. But we were watching Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, and the guy that I was hosting at his house, he and we were like running this whole club, and we couldn't sit through it anymore. I'd seen it before, and it was so bad that we turned it off and stuck in oh geez, what who's the guy with the hockey mask? Jeez.
Jason Voorhees.
Yeah, I know, but what's the movies?
Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th, yeah. So we put in Friday the 13th 2.
Wait a minute. How could you be a horror fan and not remember Friday the 13th?
It just, I was looking at the movie poster and I couldn't bring it up. I don't know. But anyway, so we did Friday the 13th Part 2. If you remember, the girl the opening of that scene is the girl from the first movie who survives. She's like in her house or apartment. She opens up the refrigerator, gets something, and then what's his face? Jason shows up and like stabbed her through the head or something, and that's like the opening scene in the movie. But that's like I said, that was good. But they did that kind of thing in the Halloween series later on. They had H2O where she like basically kills him, and it's like it's supposed to be over, and then they have Resurrection come out, and in the first 5 minutes he kills Laurie Strode. It's like, well, okay, the story's over now. He's killed her. That was the whole point. He wanted to kill his sister, and now she's dead. The movie's over. Yep, exactly.
5 minutes in, it's over.
Then he decided he wants to kill everybody else. Okay, this Night of the Lepus. They're like giant rabbits that like kill people. Okay, and they would do close-ups of regular rabbits, of course, right? With like blood on their face going.
a little strawberry jam on their face so they lick their lips and like, oh God, they're dead, they're deadly, they're going to eat you.
Look out for those rabbits. Oh my gosh. Basket Case was the movie my parents saw on their first date. My dad found out my mom liked horror movies, much to his disdain. Oh, I love your mom.
That sounds like me and my wife. She was never a horror fan. I said, don't worry, I'll ease you into it. So you know the first horror movie I made her watch? The original Evil Dead. The first one. I'm going to ease you in.
Oh my gosh.
I'm going to ease you in. Ugh.
Oh my gosh. I took a date to see Zombie, that Italian
the eye scene is awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah, when the hand comes through the door and pulls her through, and the splinter from the door goes right into her eye. Oh God, it's just yeah, it wasn't a great first date movie though, I have to admit.
What's a good movie though?
Aaron should use a student film as intro to I should. It's on 16 millimeter. I'd have to get it transferred. I probably should do that. And only show the good scenes. The special effects at the beginning are horrific. That's what kills me.
Hey, there you go, Snake Dog right there. Yes, that's exactly that should have been the name of Evil Dead right there. Tree rape. That's exactly what the film is. It's tree rape.
You know, the funny thing is I only watched was it the second one or what's the second one?
Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn, and then the third one is Army of Darkness.
Army of Darkness is the one I've seen, which I kind of liked.
That's the most campiest one. That's the one with that's the least amount of horror. It's more action and comedy than it is horror. And
what's the one? Wait a minute. What's the one where he's out in the cabin in the woods? Is that the first one or the second one?
The first one is the cabin in the woods, and the second one is the cabin in the woods.
Was the
what happened is there was a great deal of time between the first and second one. And so Raimi, in the first 10 minutes of part 2, sort of like revamped the whole first movie. He kind of retells the movie, but with changes that are made. So he like revamps the whole, way it worked. And then the movie goes on from that point. And that's what part 2 is. So part 2 recaps the first movie in the first 10 minutes, and then it goes on to continue.
Is that the one that has the little characters, the little
ashes? No, that's Army of Darkness.
Okay, that's Army of Darkness. Okay, all right.
Yes, because then they all merge together and they become a second Ash. Because they.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Body. Yeah, that's the one I've seen.
I'm bad Ash, and you're good Ash. You're good as little two shoes.
Oh my goodness!
Sets us up for one of the best lines of all time. Blam! Good, bad. I'm the guy with the gun.
Yeah, good, bad. I'm the guy with the gun.
That's the best line ever.
Hail to the king, baby.
In case you're wondering, folks, why didn't we do our horror movies? Because since Aaron and I both love horror, because we're saving that for Halloween episode, folks. We're going to do that for Halloween because
That's right.
It's perfect timing. So you're getting the B movies that are not horror this time, and then in October you will get the horror one.
And there'll be a long list, I'm sure. So, all right.
It'll be a 4-hour stream to get through them all.
Exactly. Well, what about this one? Okay. So, did you want to share something first before we got into the art? When did you want to do that?
No, that's going to be a con story. So let's get right to the art.
All right. Well, okay. Your art, of course, falls right in line with your taste in B movies.
That's what you do. You got to keep the theme.
So let's take a look at this from. Did this series started in the 80s, didn't it?
No, 90s.
Bud Root. Okay, so Cave Girl didn't stop.
This isn't even like a story. This is from a special book called Prehistoric Pinups Book 2 from 2001. And it's all just pinup images. And, again, the classic trope, the sexy, primitive babe. I mean, is, again, aside from like the use of Nazis and like aliens from space, is there anything more overused than the sexy, primitive babe for like low budget movies? I don't think there is. So, and again, this is from a series that started out low budget. If you recall, it's from Basement Comics. It's not from a major publisher. He did it all on his own. And, just like you guys are doing now with the crowdfunding, he's doing it all on his own and he put it out there. And, this to me is the antithesis of low budget right here is you got the sex appeal, you got great line work, something that will suck you right in. And yet it's all just, just completely low budget. There's nothing more to it than just what you see. There's not like deep philosophical storylines or it's just, it is what it is. Cave Woman is the classic B movie comic.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to get too deep on analytics or analyzing this, but I will say that I do remember that this was one of the independent comics that gained traction, because there was a lot of stuff coming out, but most of it you never heard of or even cared about. But this was one that gained some traction.
The very end of the bad girl craze.
Right. And it had a lot of, within the comic community culture, if you will, this had traction. People knew about this book. Yes. And that's a significant thing to say when you're doing, you're completely independent, coming out of left field with something and no one knows who you are. And obviously he's selling a big melons.
Bud Root obviously studied under Russ Meyer.
Yeah, exactly. The genius of Russ Meyer.
That's right. He understands his genius, and he made success out of it. See there, it shows you how ahead of his time Russ Meyer truly was. But
I know Aaron took a date to Dr. Giggles. Dr. Giggles was the first movie produced by Dark Horse Comics. So
yeah, Louis Bright Raven, he got it 93. I thought it might have been 94 when the first issue hit the stands, but I think he's right. I think it might have been 93. 93 is the first Cave Woman. Like I said, that's towards the end of the Bad Girl stuff. The Bad Girl stuff kind of petered out in like the mid 90s, like 95. So this is towards the end of the craze when this came out. So, but like I said, to me, Cave Woman is just the antithesis, the perfect example of exploitation type comic books.
There you go. Apex is agreeing with you. Bud Root is the Russ Meyer of comics. There you go.
I don't know. It's either him or Frank Cho. One of them. It could be a toss up between the two. Which one is more?
Well, no, but see, the thing with Frank's stuff is really good. So it doesn't have any low budget quality feel to it like this does.
True.
His is very polished and mainstream looking. His subject matter.
Well, this one is actually kind of polished for Bud. I mean, I love the gray toning on the skin to get the shadows. Rather than use going in with like dark ink to make the shadows, he uses that gray toning to have transition from light to dark. And I love that look. It's beautiful.
Look at Louis Bright Raven dropping more pop culture knowledge on us. Actually, Root was riffing Kurtzman and Elder's Little Annie Fanny for sure, mixed with William Stout's Dinosaurs. How about that?
That could be, yeah.
I wouldn't disagree with that. And in 1993, if that's when this debuted, that's when I debuted on, of course, Sludge, which now
So Bud's doing sexy babes and you're doing muck monsters.
Right, exactly. And I'm still doing them now. Garbage Man is my version of Sludge. If I was the one writing Sludge all the time, Garbage Man would have been Sludge. So there you go.
And then we can slide along here to the cover. I didn't normally, guys, I would have the published page for you, but the work was done in black and white and it was published in black and white except for the cover. And the scan I saw of the published page, it's very faded, like a lot of those shadows you saw with the gray toning kind of like faded out. I don't know if it was the publishing, I don't know if it was the scan the guy got, but here it is. This is the book it's from, guys. So if you want to check it out for yourselves, this is the book to look for right here. And again, there you go, Sexy Women and Dinosaurs. There you go, right there.
It's the ultimate combination.
They've been doing it since what was it 1 million years BC with Raquel Welch, and they've never stopped doing it since.
Exactly. Dynamite, like way back when I was sort of wrapping up my run at CrossGen Comics, so that would have been early 2000s, 2003, 2004, some of that neighborhood, had contacted me about, because I had a sketchbook with this redheaded cave girl on the cover, and they wanted to do their own sort of exploitation cave girl comic.
Yeah.
And they had contacted me about, using this.
I think it was called Jungle Girl. I think they called it.
Yeah, because, Frank Cho ended up doing it, but they contacted me initially and said, hey, do you want to, can we use this? We're thinking about using this character as our Jungle Girl. Would you be interested in blah, blah, blah? And I was like, yeah, of course. Sure. And then they decided actually to get Frank Cho to do it. And I got dumped to the side, but that's my Frank Cho story.
There you go. Michael's got it. You have only to suggest the female form. The male mind will work and complete the mental image. And again, like I said, masters like Russ Meyer understand this. That's why they're always so successful, because they understand these concepts.
The genius of Russ Meyer is what we're talking about.
Unappreciated genius.
Said Bud does some beautiful Universal Monster stuff too.
He does.
Yep. Now, is he still doing Cave Woman comics?
He even injected some of that into the Cave Woman book later on. He had like a one where she was with a Yeti, and then there's another one where she fights Dracula and the Frankenstein monsters in there. So I mean, he's actually incorporated some of those types of like Universal Monster characters into Cave Woman.
Is he still doing Cave Woman now? Or
I believe he still does covers once in a while. I don't think he's done any interiors for quite some time, for like years, but he still does covers, usually saucier covers than this, I believe.
I see. But he's not doing any Cave Woman work particular. I mean, this character.
Like I said, just aside from some spicy covers, I don't think he's really doing too much with the character himself anymore. It's others who are doing it. Devin Macy does books, and what's another guy? Rob Durham is another artist they're obviously guys who are trying to ape on what Bud does, but they're not nearly as well versed on it as he is.
Well, when I was looking through my stuff, trying to figure out, okay, what art do I have that might fit into this theme? I thought, well, let me think. I said to myself, Aaron, what do you have? And I remembered a book we did back through Image back in the 90s called Chicks. And, which was essentially an exploitation book, and it's making fun of exploitation by being exploitation. Well, on the second book, the chicks that
time forgot,
the chicks that time forgot, we farmed out.
We own a set of each of those books autographed by I think all of you guys.
There you go. That's classic right there, baby. But so we hired different guys to work on it outside the studio. And one of the guys we hired to do part of a short segment was Hillary Barda, because I love his humor stuff. And I had Hillary do the Piguana story, which is a 3-page thing. And I thought, okay, this is the equivalent of cheesy B movie art, right? So you've got the Piguana spaceships flying off the planet. He's returning from his attempted invasion of Earth. He was supposed to be. He pretended to be Good Girl's sidekick so he could get info on them, so they could invade the Earth. And it didn't go well. But this is Hillary gave me all 3 pages from the story, and they're just terrific.
All I can say is, looking at that final panel, why am I getting a Deliverance vibe?
No, they're
Squeal
going
like
to give
pig.
No, they're going to give him a, yeah, I know, the squeal like a pig. They're going to give him a shot because he didn't get his vaccines, which I guess has come around full circle, and now it's sort of appropriate again. But anyway, so this is a 3-page story, and this is the page 1 from it, and I just thought, how cool. This is about as good as comedy B movie gets, is right here. And just terrific inking by Hillary as well. If you look at the, he has a kind of
Oh my God, that's Dr. Fauci.
But he has such a Wally Wood sort of EC flair to his stuff.
Well, I love the top panel with the planet, and then all the ships like just kind of come like swirling out. I love that image. That's a great image.
I know. He really put some time and effort into this. And I guess since I won't have any other reason to show these, I'll show you guys the whole 3 pages. So that's the first one where he comes back expecting to be a
hero,
and he's sadly disappointed. So yeah, 0. And so look at that Slob's Pig Boy up there on the top.
There you go.
Was that Porkorama? Squeal Deal. Yeah.
That sounds like it's something else, nothing to do with pigs or food.
The pig strip joint maybe. But there he is. You should be. He expected to get rewarded by the king. King ain't too happy with him. And they're dragging him off to get tortured. You see, the guy's got a hot iron over here with just waiting for him to punish him. So you can see they have this. Hillary's really a very good humorist, and he has this kind of rhythm where each panel ends with Piguana getting drug away for yet another corrective
lesson.
Yeah, exactly. And the final
it's a
one,
running gag. It's a running gag.
And let me grab the last one here. If I can. And so Pigulus 4 is the name of the pig lizard planet, home of Piguana. Oh, you know what? I screwed this up. This is the first page. No, it isn't. Wait a minute. Yeah, it is. I'm sorry. I had these backwards. Anyway, this is the first page where he comes back expecting a hero's welcome, right? And then he gets drug away, and you see the little string of urine there as he's peeing himself as he's being drug away.
I was hoping that was just drool. Thanks for ruining it for me, Aaron.
No, it's pee, because we laughed our head off when we saw that. We were like, oh, you got to be kidding me. So here he's expecting the hero's welcome. He gets drug off for screwing up. Then he goes to see the king.
And the king ain't happy.
King ain't happy. So then he goes to the torture chamber. And then at the end, they launch their invasion towards Earth. That's what got me confused. I was like, why are they launching the invasion on the first page? But so they launch their invasion towards Earth. And then he thinks he's going to get away and go with them. And no, he gets his shots. Oh, he's going to go on the trip, but he has to get his shots first before he goes. So there you have it. So that's the 3 page story. And of course,
the time forgot.
That's right. And then there was supposed to be a follow-up called the Chicks in Space, and we never did it. But that's where the Piguana armies attacked Earth, and all the heroines that we brought in the Chicks That Time Forgot
I think defend the Earth. Worked on those books. I think you're all still around. You guys could still get together and do it. You could do the last one. You could crowdfund it.
We would probably make a fortune on it too. If we could get everybody together to do it, but I don't know that anybody cares that much about it.
You would be surprised, Aaron. You would be surprised.
Well, I mean the creators, not the people. People bug me all the time about finishing it, but
and maybe space herpes.
Yeah,
that's right. He's getting inoculated for space herpes.
Yep. Is that what it is? Yeah, That's Andino's speculation. It's not spelled out there, but we're just saying for safe interplanetary travel, he needs to get his vaccinations. How about a Chicks omnibus? There's not enough issues. We don't have enough issues to do a trade paperback, let alone an omnibus.
Well, again, if you all got together and did the third book, you might have enough to do a trade collection. Or that's how you could do it. Say we're going to put the two together, and then we're going to do the third one, which is all new material in the trade, and it's a trade collection of all three together. You could do that. I'm a thinker. I'm a money man. I'm always looking for the angle for how to make a dollar.
The unfortunate thing, though, to be completely honest with you, let's just say the political viewpoints of people involved might not be agreeable to work together in the current climate. Let's just
yeah, that's true.
Might cause some problems. But anyway, who knows? Technically, I own the copyright on it because I took it, but I still wouldn't do that and use characters without the other guys being involved. That would not be
Citizen
cool.
Ronan says that looked like something from Heavy Metal.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. The rest of the book doesn't, but that was good stuff. It was a funny book. It really was a funny book. How's that? But anyway,
it's exploitation comics. That's what it was.
That's exactly right. So it fits the bill for today. All right. So before we wrap the show up, we need to tell a con story. And you had a special moment here.
Well, before we get to the con story, I gotta say, I'm sure everyone here has heard the news. The great Neil Adams has passed away. He's no longer with us. And so I just wanted to take a moment to note that and say this book right here.
Hold that up again. Oh, yep.
Signed by him and Denny.
Wow.
And I'm so glad I got that now that just happened. And if you're wondering why this book, that's why. Right here.
Batman.
Well, no. Right above him. This right here.
Oh, is that you?
That's me. That's a pull quote from a review I did for a website that is no longer around called 4Color Review. I did a review on Batman 232, and they took a pull quote from it for this book.
Wow.
So
that's cool.
And I remember when I showed this to Neil, I said I got a pull quote in the back, and he looked at it, and I guess he must have read it, and then he just kind of got like this little smile on his face, and then he signed my book.
And did he charge you?
Oh, of course he did. Of course he did. He charges everybody. He doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, Neil was one of the biggest influences on my career or my art style growing up. Him and Wrightson.
I mean, that's kind of what I say in the thing here, saying how he's he was the body of work him and Giordano did is like inspiration for a generation of creators.
Yeah, and I didn't know him very well. I met him once, and he spent the whole time lecturing me about charging for my autograph. So that's the only Neil Adams. And I did.
What I said. So when you asked me, did he charge us? Of course he charged me. He's Neil Adams. It's what he does.
Well, when I was in film school, he was opening up Continuity Studios in L.A., a branch of Continuity in L.A., and I went and interviewed with him. And he was actually not brutal when he reviewed my portfolio.
Oh yeah, I've heard stories.
Yeah, I heard he was ruthless, but he was actually pretty civil to me.
A friend of mine, Jason Metcalf, was at a show, and he was with some guys, and they watched his guide. He was at their table, and he was all like real excited. Oh, I'm going to go meet Neil. I'm going to have him review my portfolio, and they're like, oh, okay, great, hey, enjoy that. And they all sat there and watched, and he couldn't hear what he was saying, but like they're watching as Neil's going through it, and you can see Neil just doing like the gestures and stuff. And the guy walked over all steaming, like, yeah, I'm so excited. And he goes, just watch the guy slowly, like smaller and smaller as Neil is reviewing him. And then he said, we couldn't hear what he was saying, but we could imagine what.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can imagine. Christopher Majorana. Did I say that right? Majorana, maybe? Solid show, guys. Thanks, Christopher. Appreciate the $5 and appreciate you appreciating the show. And wait a minute. Heidi Mealy says, back in our 4Color review days. How about that?
We both reviewed for the site at the time. I got a pull quote on a book. She actually had a pull quote in an issue of previews for the series Soulless from CrossGen.
Oh, how about that?
So yes.
Wow.
But
all right.
Okay, time for con stories.
Time for your con story. Let's hear what you got.
And again, try to keep it in theme with the whole point. We're talking about exploitation art, exploitation artistry of a kind. Cue the dog. And this one is from 2006, Emerald City Comic Con. Adam Hughes was there. And my wife loves his work. Loved his Wonder Woman covers, loved his work on the Bwahaha League with Giffen and DeMatteis. So I had to get something for her by him. And so I went there to get a sketch. And, well, let's just say it was a lot more expensive at the time than I was expecting, but I still paid it because it's Adam Hughes. So I paid it and I had to get one for it. And I was like the third or fourth person on the list. Now, of course, everybody wants one from Adam. So he had a long list. So what happened is after the show was over, he was in the same hotel we were in, and he went down into like the little like lounge down there and was drinking while doing the sketches for people who had paid to get a sketch. And we're all hanging out watching. And he's doing sketch after sketch after sketch. You know, great stuff. You know, some awesome pieces were created that night. Mine was the second to last one that he did. Remember, I was third on the list, and yet I was the second to last one that he did. And so,
so are you saying he was a little bit tired when he got to yours?
Well, I'm just saying it's like it struck me odd because here it is. I was near the top of the list, and yet I was one of the last ones done. So I just thought that was kind of odd. But what I requested was, got to shut that door, got to silence that dog, got to do something, get the muzzle. And so what I did is I was the next to last one, and I had asked for Black Cat by him. I figured, it's Adam Hughes. You got to get Black Cat or some sexy babe, because otherwise, what's the point? It's Adam Hughes. Right. It's what you do. But I just didn't do anything with it. I said what I wanted him to do was have her pulling on a shirt that like falls off the shoulder, like say what's her name from Flashdance on the movie cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of those 80s style shirts, and right across the chest it says "Got milk." It's like, right there on the milk bags. It's like perfect. How can it be any better than that? And so he sat there and he did it. And my wife was there with me, and we're sitting there talking with people and watching all the sketches and all this great stuff. And pardon me. So what we did is we finally get to mine. He gets it done. It's like wicked late. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning when he's getting mine done, and he still had one left to go, which turned out. I'll tell you this: it turned out to be a Batgirl piece. I saw it later from the person, and he even did it where like she's sitting there in a chair, slumped up, and then looking at a clock, going like, "Oh, thank God the night's over," type of thing. Yeah. That's how he felt, I guess, at the end of all this. But he did the sketch and gave it to my wife, and she's got misty when she got it. And artist Tony Harris was there. Yeah. And he saw her like getting misty-eyed, and he goes, Are you crying? There's no crying in comics. And the wife, without missing a beat, goes, It's not me, it's the alcohol. I've been drinking. That was the thing. There's no crying in comics. And all I could think when he said that is like, I'm sorry, how many guys have been ripped off and cheated on and screwed over in this industry, and there is no crying? Get out of here. That's crazy. You can't say that there's no crying in comics. There's a room full of artists who would disagree with you.
I haven't talked to Tony Harris in ages, but Apex Comics says
this link I just put in the private chat here for you, Aaron. You can see the completed piece, guys. So here you go, a little additional art for you guys. A little bit of additional art so you can see the actual completed piece that Adam Hughes did for my wife.
Hang on now. I just learned how to do some of this stuff.
And there you go. You scroll to there is for Heidi. There it is. Black Cat.
That's awesome.
Milk.
That's awesome.
How, like the shirt falls off the shoulder like it does on the girl from Flashdance. Exactly what I wanted.
Great. And I got a piece for him as well. We ended up. I'm not going to tell this con story because even though it's similar to yours in this, well, not similar, but there was Adam and me and Phil Noto were at WonderCon drawing after the show, right? And Adam was basically just catching up on his sketches for the day, right? And there was people waiting and all that kind of stuff. And I was just hanging out, and it ended up drawing something for Allison in her book while I was there. But it's time for another story. This is my story because this is more exploitation. Not really, but it is kind of funny. So I was at San Diego, and this is before I met Shelley, so don't anybody tell Shelley on me. But I was at this, they had just opened up that hotel with the, I think it was the Emerald something or other, and had all the green lights on it. And it was like the hotel, the main hotel for the show, but it was like half a mile, a mile away, right? So we all had to get buses to ride over there. But so I'd get up in the morning, and I'm telling you, there was some fine looking young ladies that were working in the restaurant, right? So I'm sitting there and, working on this one waitress. And so I'm starting to establish some rapport, and I'm sitting there by myself, of course. And then there at the table next to me is this couple. And it turns out that it's Lynn Johnston who does For Better or For Worse, right? Wow. The newspaper strip. So she's like, I don't know. Oh, I think I said to her, hey, I don't mean to interrupt you. And I said, but my mom is a huge fan of your comic strip, and I just wanted to say hi, and I really appreciate the work you do and all that kind of stuff, right? And oh, thank you, blah, blah, blah. And then she says, you're eating by yourself. She goes, why don't you join me and my husband and I'm like, because I wanted to spend the whole breakfast working on this waitress, but now I got invited over, and how can I not sit at her table and eat breakfast with them? Which totally blew the thing up with the waitress, but at least I got to sit there and talk to Lynn Johnston over breakfast for, a good 45 minutes, which was really, I guess, worth the exchange. But yeah, that was me.
Does Shelley think it was worth the exchange?
Well, I don't know, because she ended up with me, and it could have been the waitress.
So does she think it was worth the exchange?
I don't know. I see if she was. I'll have to ask her and tell her the story and see if she thinks that it worked out okay. But yeah, so that's not a great exploitation story, but it was me, scamming on a girl and then getting it interrupted by someone. You're like, wow, I really want to have breakfast with them, and yet I really want to pick up on this girl. So what do? I had breakfast with a famous cartoonist instead.
So it was artistic bros before hoes.
That's right. Exactly. So it ended up not being a very good exploitation film at all. Really.
It would have been the opposite.
Exploitation film. It's exactly right.
This film would have went the other way.
That's right. It's the film you don't want to go see. It's the B movie that has got no elements in it that make it a B movie. So anyway, excuse me. That's my con story.
Old man says lots of crying in comics on Twitter. Just saying.
Yeah.
Especially now. That's hilarious. I love that.
You're going to say I thought they were swingers. And it's like, I know it's kind of.
That would have been the exploitation film.
Right. That's exactly right. There was a couple. Let me just say this. At CrossGen, they were not artists, but there was a guy that worked there and his wife, and apparently they were swingers, and they were always inviting like artists and their wives over to their house and stuff. And somebody went, I'm not going to say who it was. The artist and his wife went over there and were a little surprised at the offer they got. And so they came back and warned the rest of us not to be going over to dinner to this guy's house. So anyway, That's all I have to say about that. But that's my swingers story.
Just
Thankfully it wasn't
to,
me.
To feel sad at the loss of Cross Gen is that's just another reason to lament the loss.
That was much closer to a B movie than my con story ended up being. So.
Oh God.
Well, Sequential, we did it again, man. We made an hour and 45 minutes. We talked about the importance, really, of B movies in our lives. And it was actually a really good conversation. We had a lot of good laughs. We appreciate you guys joining us. We had a great crowd today. Our biggest one yet. How about that?
Yes. Awesome.
So I guess that means growth, right?
So we get bigger from this point. That's what I'm hoping for.
Right. So everybody remember to like and subscribe to this channel. Go to Sequential Treasures links, which are in the description of this video for all his different. He's got a channel. He's got stuff on art for sale.
We got the MeWe group, so you can keep up with all the stuff going on. We got the art gallery full of like almost 1,400 pieces of art for sale. We've got the Instagram page. We've got and we've got the YouTube channel. So it's all right there, guys. It's all there. It's all good. Check them all out. They're all right down there, along with the awesome trailers to those movies I picked.
That's right. So you do not want to miss those. That's right. And also, if you're so inclined, check out my Wraith of God campaign, which is going to the printers next week. So it's still open. So if you haven't backed or you're interested,
much longer though, I guess. So it's getting close to closing time.
That's right. Won't be long now.
Again, folks, you procrastinators, this is it. This is your last minute warning. Get out there and back Wraith of God. Don't be a knucklehead.
That's right. Don't be a knucklehead. So anyway, thank you guys.
Next show, guys, May 28th.
There it is. He's got it marked down. He's on top of this stuff. He just tells me.
It's like right on, I believe, Memorial Day weekend, guys. So
there you go. He tells me, I show up, we do the show. So there it is. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us.
So make sure to check us out and just mark it on your calendars, May 28th.
There you go. And we will see you guys next time. Have a great rest of your weekend. And don't forget to join me and Shelly tomorrow night at 5 right here on this YouTube channel.
That's right. It'll be better than a trip to Uranus.
That
was
all right, guys.
Time. That was so when she watches this back, she can have a good laugh.
That's right, because it's all about Shelly. Okay. All right, guys. See you later, and thank you.